special full school board meeting to order. Mr. Busey, roll call please.
Ms. McGowan?
Present.
Mr. Bellows?
Present.
Mr. Bullier?
Here.
Mrs. Harrington?
Here.
Ms. Keenes?
Present.
Mr. Cormier?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Mr. Pappas? Here. Mr. Cusimano?
Here.
Mr. Downs?
Here.
Mr. Cameri?
Here.
Ms. Allen?
Here.
Mrs. Stokes?
Here.
Four.
Next item is public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to address the board? There is none. I'll close public comment. Next item is FY25 budget. So I am gonna, the Finance Committee recommends the board approve the FY25 operating budget in the amount of $74,790,383.
So moved.
Mrs. Harrington still moves. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bullier. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, let's, yeah, can we show of hands for those who approve?
Approve?
Or this is just the nays, I
No.
think it's easier.
Just the nays.
6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So that's 7-6. So it passes 7-6. Next item is the Finance Committee recommends the board approve the FY25 bonded capital improvement program in the amount of $1,120,000.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Ms. Harrington, second by Mr. Boyer. Any discussion? Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next item is Finance Committee recommends the board approve the FY25 cash capital improvement program in the amount of $377,000.
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Ms. Harrington, second by Mr. Pappas. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Finance Committee recommends the board approve the FY25 food service budget in the amount of $2,150,000.
So moved.
Still moved by Mr. Pappas,
Second.
second by Mr. White. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion passes. Finance Committee recommends the board approve the FY25 grant budget in the amount of $4,251,000.
So moved.
Still moved by Mrs. Harrington,
Second.
second by Mr. Bullier. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That's for the budget. Anything else under the budget?
So just
Mr. Cameri?
to answer Mr. Cusimano's question about where the, it's Article 7 under the finance, the limitation on budget increases. The school board shall adjust its budget for the increases and decreases in the state tax, and the city shall adjust its budget for the increases and decreases. The school board will submit to the city manager by March 25th of each year its recommended budget with its cap amount, including detailed revenue projections. City manager, in his or her budget presentation to the city council, may adjust the school budget to meet the overall spending limitation for the cities. That's what happens when you get a tax cap in the city.
Thank you.
I just want to reiterate.
2008.
I do plan on talking with the mayor and the city manager tomorrow, and after that conversation, I will make sure the full board is updated on how that conversation went. Mr. Pappas.
First, I'd like to say thank you, appreciate that. And second, I'd like to make a motion that we submit a second budget request to the city council in the amount of $75,851,459, which includes all of those cut positions, sort of as a secondary budget request.
So 75 million.
$75,851,459.
Second.
Would you mind if I add a little stipulation to that? That we show the votes of the first one budget and then the votes of the second just numbers, not names?
Yeah, 76.
Yeah, so if we, the first budget, we show the city manager it was 7.6, and then whatever this one is.
All of that's right in minutes.
I don't care if that's,
I'll let them know that.
Okay.
could someone second that?
Second.
Someone second, Mr. Committees, who second?
Everybody here.
Committee second.
We weren't loud enough, Eric.
Any more discussion on that?
Superintendent.
I don't know if you're actually authorized to do that. Basically, what Mr. Kamiri just read is that you're charged with sending them a tax cap compliant budget. Now, in my presentation that I will show them, as we always do, as you alluded to, losing 32.5 positions over 13 years until last year was the first year we received new positions in our budget, right? Those are things we show them, but again, I would have to defer to the city attorney, but I don't think this board is allowed to submit a budget over the tax cap for consideration. But again, if you want to do something in the spirit of it, I don't know how we would report that, but
So what I can do is I can obviously, when I have the conversation, tell them this is the number that we're looking for. It's not that much more within the big budget that the city has that we're looking for this, so we don't have to lose any teachers. I can talk to them about that. If we can't make a recommendation, I'll make sure they have a number of what we're looking for. With the big city and the pockets they have, it's not that much more. Mr. Kamiri.
Just to kind of cover what Kyle just said, and I agree exactly what you said. We legally can't submit two budgets. I believe in the spirit of showing what this budget costs as far as what the submission of a tax compliant budget, the presentation of what the budget should be in that spirit. It's not necessarily a presentation of a budget submission, but the spirit of what a tax compliant budget is costing us. So I seconded it, so I would just kind of, for clarification, submission of a good intent, if you will, not necessarily submitting a budget, because legally we can't submit two budgets.
Doesn't say that.
Mrs.
Where does
Stowe.
it say that?
So
Right in the
you
charter.
said in the city charter, I'm reading it, you said Article 7.
Yeah. City of Rochester Code of Administrative Code.
City
Articles-
charter.
The Code, Administrative Code, Article 7, Finance.
So
City codes.
Some-
I'm talking about the city charter.
I'm,
Point of order, point of order.
Charter.
Just,
Well, I asked.
I know,
Okay.
that's fine.
We're trying to find it.
So we're just trying to find it.
It's
so that-
the
yeah.
City of Rochester, the Code of Administrative Code, Article 7 under Finance. I'm not exactly sure that it's the charter. It's the Administrative Code.
So I guess that's my concern. The city charter is what we typically follow. So Mr. Cusimano had asked about the city charter.
So,
I'm just trying to look up what Mr. Kamiri is saying. I just want to make sure I'm clear, because
So-
when he was talking about the city charter, I was looking for it.
right, so, and I'm not exactly for certain, it's the Code, Administrative Code, and I didn't pull into, it's outlining the details of a tax cap. Okay, when they passed the tax cap,
So I understand that none of us like this, and I think presenting two budgets instead of maybe presenting the one and then having a conversation might go over a little better, talking to them and having a conversation rather than just saying, here's the one that you guys want, but this is what we really want, throwing two at them. I think maybe having a conversation with them first might be a better option. Mr. Guzman.
I would say we have a conversation and we submit two budgets. It's not against the charter. If it's against the code and they get mad at us, I mean, come in here and yell at us.
Well, that's what I'm trying.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
We gotta play nice. We
That's
gotta
what-
play
no,
nice.
I'm saying-
I understand, but if we don't play nice, then they're just gonna,
That's not true.
So under the city charter, I just want to be clear, it says override provision. Budgetary restrictions described in any part in section 43A may be overridden upon a vote of 2/3 of all elected members of the city council. Such overrides expire following adoption of the annual budget. So in our city charter, it does say that we can ask for an override, so we can, it sounds to me like we can submit a budget over the tax cap and just ask them for that. So, it's city charter, just to be clear, section 43, limitation on budget increase, paragraph 2.
Mrs. Harrington?
Thank you. This is for Mr. Pusey. So you already touched on your presentation that you'll be putting together as you do every year. And you'll bring up the personnel, the history of the positions lost, the 10 put back in, now we're losing 6. In addition to talking about the personnel numbers, will you also remind them the $250,000 that was cut from our under tax cap budget last year, the $600,000 that was cut from our under tax cap budget the year before that, that's $850,000. That only catches up and it snowballs for every year after that. And as you touched on before, the health insurance is really a significant increase to this budget.
Mr. Patrick?
Thank you. What Mr. Kamiri was referring to is the codes and ordinances. So think of it as the Constitution and the
Not the
laws.
ordinances.
So the city charter is our Constitution and the ordinances are our laws. And according to the law of the city, we cannot submit a budget over the tax cap. The override you speak of, Ms. Stokes, is for the total budget, not the school budget. So as you recall, maybe about 5 years ago, we overrode the budget. We convinced the city council to override the budget to catch up from Ms. Harrington's, the situation Ms. Harrington just mentioned. That was not an easy thing to do. It required us to rally parents and community members to really en masse come to the city council meetings. We had dozens and dozens, maybe even over 100 people show up at the meetings and speak to the city councilors about the need to override the budget. It's not easy, and it's not something that city councilors take lightly, and they're not likely to approve it, as unfortunate as that might be. But it is the total budget, not just the school budget, and that's over $100 million. So.
Like, I'm just gonna reiterate again, none of us want this. I wanna make sure we try to get to that 75 million, but I just think we need to do it in a manner that's a little better than just, here's your tax compliant budget, but this is what we want. So that's just my recommendation,
Not what we want, what we need.
or what we need, yes, I'm sorry, yes, this is what we need, correct.
Do we have a projection of what they're gonna be under the tax cap this year? Because last year they were 5.5 million below.
Who's they? You mean
The city of Rochester. So if they're 5.5 million below last year, then maybe we can use those numbers too to go back towards them. I understand it's the whole budget.
Mr. Boyer?
That's through all those nights that we're talking about. I remember sitting with the chair and vice chair last time, next to Mr. Pusey too, and we were presenting this. Every department's doing the same. So at the end, the council asked every department to cut by certain dollar amounts, and I remember they came in with 250,000. The year before, it was 600. So that dollar amount that you see there, that's at the end of all the nights and when they approve it. So we don't know until the deliberations happen.
Mr. Patrick?
Also, they came in under the tax cap because the inflation rate was something like 13% or 8% or something like that. And if they came in with a 8% increase of the budget, we would add a civil war, I think, in Rochester. But I think they came in at 3-4% increase over the previous year's budget. So that, it was a very unusual year to have high inflation, which caused the
I know you put a motion on the table, are you leaving that on the table?
I'd like to leave it on.
Okay.
What was the motion, so I can
You
remember?
made the motion to
And
send
add to
in, I
that,
second.
the city of Rochester had 30 million in asset value contributed to the reduction, so they had a projected $30 million more in value of the assets throughout it.
So that motion's still on the table.
I'll second it.
Did somebody already second it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody did. That's right.
So the motion is to submit a second budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any more discussion on that?
Can we do a roll call vote?
Well, let's see if we need
What's
to.
the-
All those in favor, signify by saying
I
aye.
would like to do a
Point of
roll
order
call.
though, because I asked
She
if
asked
we
for
can do
it.
it, so we have
All right,
to.
let's do a roll call.
Thank you.
Mr. White,
Yes.
Mr. Bowler,
Yes.
Mr. Pappas,
Yes.
Ms. McGowan,
Yes.
Mr. Downs,
Yes.
Mr. Cormier,
Yes.
Mrs. Harrington,
Yes.
Mr. Bellows,
Yes.
Mr. Cameri,
Yeah.
Ms. Allen,
Yes.
Ms. Keynes,
Yes.
Mrs. Stokes,
Yes.
Mr. Kusia.
Yes.
So I will make sure I talk to the mayor and the city manager, let them know that, give them a heads up, you're gonna be getting a tax complaint and a budget that we need.
Remind them
So-
about the cut last year too,
Yeah, the 850,000.
and the year before when we both
Yeah,
split
2
it
years,
under the
you
budget.
said 2 years, 850,000, that's got nothing.
Correct.
So,
Don't forget to call your city council members.
alrighty, is there, we'll move on to the next item is other, anything under other. Alright, next item is adjournment, anyone wanna make a motion to adjourn?
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Pappas makes a motion, is there a second by Ms. Allen, all those in favor? Oh, that's, I'm sorry, yeah,
What,
We gotta go with the non-public.
yes, we need to go to.
You gotta ask everybody to pull their motion to
I'll pull the motion.
Can you pull your motions?
Sure.
Pull your seconds.
Hoping to get out.
pull it back.
Alright, I'm gonna make a motion to go into non-public under 91-A, semicolon 3, comma 2, quote A.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion?
Second. Second, motion by Mr. Bollier, second by Mr. Cusumano. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Motion to adjourn, no discussion.
Alright, whatever.